It is our belief from our investigation that he's tied directly back to the PLC, or the Communist Party in China.
Again, the investigation, Canada Under Siege, how Prince Edward Island became a forward operating base for the Chinese Communist Party.
Prince Edward Island, PEI, Canada's smallest province, with 170,000 residents and vast farmlands, has emerged as a suspected hub for Chinese Communist Party infiltration. This isn't sudden aggression. It's a calculated, decades-long strategy exploiting openness, weak regulations, and economic vulnerabilities. It began in the early 2010s, amid China's economic surge. CCP-linked investors, often through the United Front Work Department, are accused of targeting PEI's lax land laws. At the same time, Buddhist organizations like Bliss and Wisdom International, led by Taiwanese Master Jin Ru, and F.O. Guangshan acquired thousands of acres in eastern PEI.
And the Great Enlightenment Buddhist Institute Society are part of Bliss and Wisdom, a Tibetan Buddhist movement based out of Taiwan, which for almost 2 decades has been building up a presence in eastern PEI. It's been suggested Bliss and Wisdom controls far more than the 3,000 acres allowed for a corporation. So let's start adding and see where
GWBI ever attempted to subvert IRAC?
Attended.
To I guess, go around the rules to avoid going to IRAC.
If any directors know from now on anything is illegal or will be violating the local regulation, we will never do it. But we only did it because we were ignorant, out of lacking of local knowledges.
GWBI and GEBIS both say they are within their land limits and welcome the investigation.
The 1998 CSIS RMP Project Sidewinder had warned of this playbook. PLA officers posing as businessmen, embedding via diaspora networks. PEI's Provincial nominee program became the next vector. Wealthy applicants tied to Beijing elites paid $200,000 in investments, often phantom tourism ventures, for permanent residency. In the late 2010s, public pressure started to build, and in 2018, PEI's IRAC agreed to probe massive land buys by CCP-linked Buddhist groups, GWBI, GEBIS, some allegedly using cashed-up briefcases to skirt the 3,000-acre limit. Thousands of acres sat idle, alarming locals and echoing CSIS warnings of money laundering and infiltration. And guess what the report revealed? Nothing. The investigation vanished. No report emerged. For 7 years, MLAs demanded it, suspecting a cover-up.
Their hands on a 2018 land report from IRAC for years. Thursday they learned they can't because it doesn't even exist. In a letter to committee, IRAC says that the investigators never filed a final report. In the letter, IRAC said an investigation was started into the land holdings of Buddhist-related organizations in early 2016. The commission chose investigators but did not ultimately prepare a report. Later in the letter saying no report was prepared by the investigating officers, no hearing was held by the commission, nor was an order issued making any findings as to whether the parties being investigated did or did not violate the Lands Protection Act.
Given all of these suspicious events, and given a lack of government action on October 8, 2025, a group of concerned citizens took action, including Gary Clement, retired RCMP National Director of Proceeds of Crime, and Wayne Easter, former Solicitor General, held a press conference to present Canada Under Siege, a 2-year investigation exposing Prince Edward Island as a suspected CCP-forward operating base through cash-laundered land grabs, elite capture, and United Front infiltration via Buddhist proxies.
This investigation came to us, and what we found was money laundering, corruption, and elite capture at the highest levels. During our investigation, we had some brave citizens, islanders from Prince Edward Island that came forward and provided a depth of information that would provide for a law enforcement agency sufficient grounds to launch a criminal investigation. The Master Jin Yan, who came into the province, it is our belief from our investigation that he's tied directly back to the PLC, or the Communist Party in China. We were able to establish that the monastery has set up a network of corporations. And if you look at it from a point of view of money laundering, it's what you would anticipate finding in an organized crime network. This monastery, if you look at it from a Dalai Lama's point of view, you would not anticipate finding corporations, land transfers, land flips, and citizens being paid under the table cash for residences and property. And that is what has happened in Prince Edward Island now for a period of a number of years, ever since the Provincial nominee program came into existence and they were allowed in.
Again, the investigation, Canada Under Siege, how Prince Edward Island became a forward operating base for the Chinese Communist Party gathering, and an 18-month to 2-year investigation that involved Gary Clement and Michelle Juno-Katsuya, the former chief of Asia Pacific. And it has a deep collaboration, including international and Canadian security experts, whistleblowers, eyewitnesses, religious experts, and consultation with multiple governments on multiple testimony on multiple continents. This investigation began with a question: how did Canada's smallest province become a strategic beachhead for influence and interference and potentially corruption? At first, the story seemed local: immigrant programs, real estate deals, religious organizations. But what we uncovered went far deeper. We followed the money, we followed the networks, and we followed the silence. What we found were clear signs of elite capture, failed oversight, and infiltration of Canadian institutions and political parties at the municipal, provincial, and federal levels by actors aligned with the Chinese Communist Party's United Front Works Department, the Ministry of State Security. In some cases, political donations have come from members of organized crime groups in our country and have certainly influenced political decision-making over the years. Our investigation and book and documentary document how religious organizations like this particular group, Bliss and Wisdom, may have been exploited for money laundering and ideological influence. How the provincial nominee program enabled rapid immigration pathways, often without sufficient due diligence or follow-up, and how federal investigations and local investigations into irregular cash flows, immigration fraud, and suspicious property deals were quietly shut down without accountability. We explore how a PEI hotel housed over 500 Chinese nationals, all allegedly trying to reclaim their $25,000 residency deposits, but they used a single hotel as their home address. The owners charged by the CBSA only to have the trial shut down by the federal government itself. We examined testimony linked to the movement of over $1 billion into Prince Edward Island and other provincial jurisdictions, with tactics resembling the Vancouver model of transnational money laundering.
Faced with overwhelming evidence, the PEI Premier was forced to act. On October 16th, 2025, Premier Lance announced he would ask the RCMP to investigate these land holdings.
There's been long-standing speculation and rumor about and allegations about certain groups and their affiliates operating in Prince Edward Island, and it's really come to a head over the last week or so. There's a book written about this by credible people from the RCMP, from CSIS, and they've made allegations, and really came to a head last week with a press conference in Ottawa. It's left Islanders unsettled, uneasy with all of these questions, and I think they deserve answers. I've called on the federal authorities who have the mandate, the expertise, and the authority to undertake these types of investigations, to look into it, and I think that's where we are now, because Islanders deserve answers.
Now, that conference that was in Ottawa, I do know that, former Liberal MP Wayne Easter was there. He was talking about particularly concerns in Eastern PEI around Buddhist organizations. I mean, was it directly this conference that prompted the decision to call RCMP to investigate this?
As I said, it's a long-standing issue here. These are some of these allegations go back 10 or 15 years or more, and as minister previously and as premier, I have been following this very carefully. It's complicated. It's very complicated, and I've been trying to educate myself about the issues. I've started reading the book in question. There are certainly some plausible things in there, but I think Islanders deserve to have fact and fiction separated here. We deserve to know what's the truth. It's really created a lot of unease, and it's time to get to the bottom of it.
So what do you think? Do you think the RCMP will investigate properly? Do you think the sleepy little island is undergoing a hostile foreign takeover? Subscribe for more Canadian stories you won't find anywhere else.